Good evening. Welcome to the Fish Tank Barn on this rather balmy 1 degree day here in Michigan. I'd like to welcome you all to the channel. Just go ahead here, and if you give me an audio and video check, I'd appreciate it. I think everything's working fine, but just in case, go ahead and let me know. I'm actually going to do one thing real quick. Just hold on one moment. I'm not seeing any. Oh, there we go. All right, good. So looks like sounds good. Video's good. We'll go ahead and we'll give it a couple minutes here for some other folks to join, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the topic, and we'll do some announcements. Hey, Stephen, how are you? Hello, T. Krulik. Hello, Davo. Hello, Flatbed Aquatics. Hello, Alec. So yep, everything looks good. Give it another second here or so, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the announcements, and then we'll talk about I'll go ahead and talk about the topic here, and then we'll go outside and I'll actually show you some of the items in the barn that I use, things like lighting, gravel, etc. So, hello, Autumn. So just give it another couple seconds here, and then we'll go ahead and jump into it. Hello, Curtis. How are you? So, all right, looks like we've got 10 people on now. So let's go ahead and get started with the announcements. I think everyone knows the Keystone Clash is September 26th through 28th. I will be there. Looking forward to it. It's one that I've not been to before. Pennsylvania is a pretty easy trip, about an 8-hour drive or so. So I'm really looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing everyone again. It's been a couple years since I've been to an aquarium convention. I think the last one I went to was the Kalamazoo ALA. So it's been quite a bit. Hello, Zen. I appreciate it. And so I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a good time. Meet some new people, see old friends. So, if you haven't been to the Clash, I've heard very good things about it. So I would highly recommend it. The other one that's kind of near and dear to my heart is the Lone Star Cares Convention. Hello, Jenna. That's in San Antonio, Texas, from June 12th to June 15th. This one I'm on the fence on about going. It is a 20-hour drive for me from Detroit all the way down to Texas. So that's a 2-day trip for me both ways. About 8 tanks of gas or so. So it's kind of a, how do I want to say? It's kind of a tough one. It's probably cheaper to fly, but then if I fly, I don't, I'm not able to take fish with me and do things like that. So kind of on the fence with that one. So we'll see. And then the other one that just came out since last week is the Aqua Shallows have been announced. They've got May 17th and 18th in Dallas, Texas, September 6th and 7th in New Jersey, and October 25th and 26th in Los Angeles. So kind of an interesting, it'll be interesting to see how that turns out with the new locations. So, obviously those are all pretty far away from me, so really not going to be one that I'm going to be making this year. But, if you're into Aquashella, they announced that. So, so if if you're in those areas, can make the trip, highly recommend checking it out. And then last couple of things, kind of locally for me. I will be speaking at the Motor City Aquarium Society general meeting on February 13th. That's at 7:00 p.m. At the Infinity Hall and Sidebar. I always say sidecar, but sidebar. And that's in Fraser, Michigan. So at 14 Mile and Utica Road. And then the last thing is the Motor City Aquarium Society auction will be February 15th, starting at 10:30 p.m. I did put a poll this time in the stream, and if you want to, you want me to do a live stream from that auction, basically just set the camera up and let it roll all day. We can go ahead and do that. So I'll kind of use the poll in the stream to kind of gauge your interest in that. So I will kind of show you the barn cam real quick. We did make it outside today. Like I said, it is highly unpleasant right now. It's still 1 degree, has not gone down to 0 yet, but I think tonight's low is supposed to be -6. So definitely quite, how do I want to say it, quite unpleasant. So also with that, when I do go outside tonight to the barn cam, it will take me maybe an extra minute or so. Unfortunately, the sliding back door is frozen, and I can't open it at the moment, so I have to go out kind of like the other side door, so it'll take me an extra moment or so. That's okay. So Stephen P says, in this community, the answer is, should I live stream XYZ? Is always yes. Okay. Yeah, that's probably what I thought the answer would be, but I was kind of curious to see what people thought. So we'll take a look at the Cyprochromis here, and then I'll go ahead here and go through the kind of like the list of ways to save money in the aquarium hobby. And then we'll go out in the barn, take a look at it. And then I'll actually talk about a little adventure I went on last Friday as well. Ended up with some unexpected new fish and kind of learned of a new way to kind of keep fry hidden with plants. So something that I didn't think about doing. So I'll take you outside and I'll show you that here in a little bit. So first thing kind of on my list is lighting. I know there's a lot of budget-friendly lights on Amazon and things like that, with your night crews, Higers, etc. But I've also done some things too with just shop lights. I mean, I've grown quite a few plants with just an LED shop light. So plugged it in. They're kind of linkable. Got them on Amazon, and they've worked out quite well. Another one for me that's kind of one that's really near and dear to my heart is getting, gravel and sand from Home Depot. In a recent tank I set up, I actually went to Petco and PetSmart and picked up, or it was Petco that I went to, and picked up gravel, and I was shocked at how expensive it was. You can go into a Home Depot and get pea gravel. I think it's like $6-7 a bag, and it's hard, it's dirty, so you have to rinse it out and everything. But yeah, it's very very user friendly, very easy to use. I mean, it's cheap. It's like a 40-pound bag for $6-7. And also if you're looking for sand, I have found that the pool filter stand actually works really well. It works great as well. I'll go ahead and I'll get that from like a Menards is one where I'll find it. Or if you don't have a Menards, go ahead and get it from like a pool supply store, and that works quite well. Stephen P asked me, do I find that the shop lights cause less algae issues for my planted tanks? I've never measured it. I mean, the one tank that really has bad hair algae does have the LED shop light in it, but I don't know if that's necessarily the cause or if there's something else. I've not tested to see, because I have plenty of tanks with the shop lights that don't have algae in them either. So I'm going to say it's probably not the cause. So Alex said that he loves the blue flash tank. Yeah, this is one of my favorite tanks in the fish room. This is just that. I just enjoy this tank, enjoy the color, enjoy the movement. So, but yeah, the LED shop lights to me seem to work pretty well. Like the one swordtail tank in the upstairs part of the barn really does have really bad hair algae, and I've just been keeping that for fry protection more or less. I could clean it up and maybe change the plants out and things like that, and it would probably be okay. But I don't know. Not sure on that one. Actually, speaking of plants, that was on my list too. If you kind of learn to buy live plants, learn to use live plants, set up that type of ecosystem. That can definitely save you on filtration. You can, you don't have to buy like your canister filters, your hang-on back filters, and things like that. You can just use a sponge filter, which is a lot cheaper to run than, let's say if you were buying, buying like, running like I've run my African cichlid tanks with plants, and they seem to do okay. Like I'll put like Vallisneria in a tank with say, say like my big 240-gallon tank that's right when you walk in the barn. I'll show you that tank, and it's full of Vallisneria, and I just run it with 2 sponge filters, and it does okay. I mean, there's a little bit of mulm on the bottom, but overall it does quite well. Skull says that he doesn't get algae for the shop lights with easy plants unless he has them on for too long. Yeah, I run mine photo period. It's 10 to 10, so it's about 12 hours. So that seems to do okay. Like I said, there's the one tank that's really bad. We can look at it if you want. But yeah, that one's overall, like I kind of agree with Curtis. It's not, as long as you don't overdo it, I think you're fine. The other one, speaking of the auction, is buying your fish at auctions and swaps. Now, this isn't always the case, but generally with a lot of fish, they'll be cheaper than if you would buy them at this fish store. I know there's examples of things like African cichlids and stuff like that, especially in our local area, where those are a lot less expensive than if you were to go to the fish store and buy them. Our auction still seems to get quite a bit of African cichlid traffic. I would say probably about 40% or so is African cichlids. So you do get, especially at the end of the auction, you get the, 15th bag of XYZ African cichlid. And, you can get that bag for $5, where if you were to buy that at the store, it may be $100 for the 6 or 7 fish in the bag or whatever, however many of the fish there are. So that's definitely one where you can definitely save some money. Though, there are some auctions where it gets very expensive. The ALA, like Good Day and Live Bear auctions, those get very, very expensive. I found a lot of those fish cheaper around locally if you know where to look. But generally, though, if you can go to an auction or a swap, you'll find it. The fish, will be better quality too, and they'll be cheaper than you could find them at the fish store, especially if they're hobbyist bred. I know there are individuals now that are selling at the swaps that are kind of selling wholesale fish and plants. But if they're hobbyist bred, they'll definitely be, kind of better quality as well. Other thing, talking about aquarium stands. I know there's a lot of aquarium stands out there, and if you build your own stand, I know wood is more expensive than it used to be, but that's still a good option to learn about the not to learn, but to go ahead and like build that stand, just do a little bit of DIY as long as you have the skills and the tools to do that, or even use cinder blocks. I mean, cinder blocks are like $1 a piece, and you can go ahead, build your cinder block stand, and that works just as well. I mean, it may not look as pretty. You may have to paint it, do some things like that, but yeah, that's another one that you can really take a look at, and really works out well. Stephen P says those wacky ALA people. Yeah, there's yeah, it's an interesting group. I mean, it's a very knowledgeable group, but when it comes to those auctions, it definitely gets a little interesting in terms of price. I know that there are individuals out there that kind of, if something isn't selling for what they kind of think it should be, they do kind of tend to run the prices up a little bit. So, and then the last couple are, running a sump. Like you can run a cheap sump if you're doing a larger tank. I mean, you can make a cheap sump out of a Rubbermaid container, like a little Rubbermaid tote, or one of those little black and yellow totes that you would get at like a Home Depot. Those would go quite well with So New Local Austin says ALA in San Antonio, I could help you ship fish from down here, for the love of the game. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Um, I may have to actually hit you up on that as that decision kind of looms closer. So I'm going to give it probably kind of see how things shake out with a lot of different things. There's, moving pieces, etc. My daughter's college is coming up this fall too, so I got to kind of see how all the things line up. But yeah, that one, the San Antonio trip's definitely on my list. So, and then the last one, it's more of a large fish room item, but it's more heat the room instead of heating individual tanks. It's one that I don't do a very good job with, um, because of the basement and the barn, just because of the two levels. I do have to heat the tanks in the basement. Part of it just doesn't work out too well. Before we do head outside, though, I do want to talk about one other thing. Curtis was in here and he asked last week about, the Robo Snail. And, when we talked about automation, I actually did buy the Robo Snail and it was kind of an epic failure. It sort of didn't work. So it was like ended up being like $150 after taxes. And I went to set it up this weekend. I was going to do a video on it and everything. And it literally, I plugged in the batteries and it just wouldn't work. So I think that's an older product. I mean, maybe it was been in the warehouse for a long time or something, but yeah, it really, like, I went to set it up and it just straight up didn't start, didn't do anything. So I think it's a good idea, but I think there probably needs to be redeveloped a little bit. I was seeing posts out on like Reef Central about it from like 2014 or so. So it's been out for a long time. So Flatbed Quags is going to Aquashella in May and then the Clash in September. Wish I could make it to San Antonio. Yeah. So Alec asked me, does my daughter know where she's going? I'm a Michigan alumnus, yes. So does not know yet. It is kind of up in the air. There's 4 contenders. She's not heard back from Michigan yet, but we can talk about that kind of. Michigan is supposed to come out in the next week or so. The contenders as of right now are Alma College, which is a small college kind of in the center of Michigan. Michigan State, she got in there. She got into the Honors College. Bowling Green University, which is in Bowling Green, Ohio. And then the other one is Michigan, which she's still waiting on. She did early action. So we'll see how that plays out. I'll kind of know when Michigan comes out, because there'll be a rash of TikTok videos. I kind of got on the track of, the college, application process TikTok thing. And then, when people are trying to, they'll do the kids will do the videos where we'll have the family around them. They'll open the computer waiting for the email. And then, they're either like really sad or really happy. Dad, mom, and mom are all in the gear and everything. And, and then people are doing spoof videos on it now where they'll get their dog and, hey, we'll see if waiting to see if my dog got into Harvard. And the people are sitting there, the dog staring at the screen, families all around. They all jump around like the dog got into Harvard and stuff like that. So I asked her if she was going to film it, and she said she wasn't. But we'll see. I don't think we're going to put a TikTok video out of her opening her computer, hitting the button, and seeing what the answer is. I mean, no matter what she chooses, I think she'll be fine. She's been very diligent in her studies. Don't want to brag, but she hasn't gotten a B since they started giving grades. So she's got a 4-point. She's good at what she does, and wherever she ends up, I think she'll be successful. So I'm not too worried about it. So now that I've ranted about the Robo Snail, I've talked about the college plans a little bit. Let's head out to the barn. I'll go ahead and I'll pop on the barn camera, and then we'll go out and I'll show you kind of the lighting setup. Kind of show you the sarcasm. My favorite part was meeting with the finance office. Yes. Yeah. Maybe in person, I'll tell you guys a little more of my college story. It's an interesting story, but it's not one that I want to put on the internet necessarily. Um, but yeah, college was interesting. There was I got into Michigan in a very interesting way. So we'll talk about that more in person. I will say, as I got into the Evans Scholarship, which was it's a golf caddy scholarship. So I caddied at a country club when I was a kid. Had pretty decent grades, and then you know, I actually ended up getting a full ride to Michigan through that. Long story short, even though I was rejected originally, and then once I got the scholarship, I got into the University of Michigan. That's the short story. So, anyways, let me head out to the barn. We'll go ahead and I'll show you, show you some of the stuff, and then we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the story as well with the plants and some of the new fish that I kind of ended up with, on my trip on Friday. So, give me about 2 minutes to get out to the barn. If I'm not out there in like 5 minutes, send the search party because I probably froze to death on my way out there. But yeah, it is now a balmy 0 degrees, so we did drop a degree since we started the stream. So, all right, let me go ahead and do all this. Click all. All right, I'm back. So yep. So I made it in from the cold. Tell you though, it does take your breath away a little bit though. Um, all right. So if you guys could give me an audio check just to make sure that we're good, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right. All right. So let's go ahead. Head down. Head downstairs, and I'll show you all of the lighting first. I think is the best thing to look at. So Andy asked, what kind of heating do I have in the barn? We'll go ahead and I'll show you that on my way down there. Um, all right. Oops.
Sorry about that. So the main way I heat the barn is with this Stibo Eltron heater. This is a 1500 watt heater. It does quite well. Um, I do heat some of the tanks downstairs though because the heat rises obviously. But um, but yeah, so that does pretty well. Like I said, it's 0 degrees outside right now. The fish room is comfortable. I'm not freezing to death in here. Um, these Cyprochromis tanks, like the Cyprochromis tank right here is right by the door. They do probably get a tiny bit of draft, but they're doing fine. A good measure too is like on a tank that has the aquarium co-op heater. You can see here, even with it being by the door, still 74 degrees down here, and then these plates are doing just fine as well. So it does pretty well. Between like, I think one of the things that people don't always recognize with heat, especially, is all the lights, all the other equipment in here is putting off heat. So you don't need as much heat as you think. In the beginning of the barn, I ran 2500. That was a 3500 watt heater, and it was actually overkill. Um, and then I got this little one, and it does just fine. So the tank I really want to show you to demonstrate this is this tank with the bulldog Gideads in it, as well as the Ilion whitey eye. The whitey eye is like that fish right there, and then the Elaphorus robustus is that one right there. They're darker, and then they kind of have that bulldog shape to them. There's a couple bigger ones in the back too, but you can see here there's quite a few crypts. Some of the leaves look better than others, especially like in the back. But this tank is pretty well grown out with crypts. And the only lighting in here is we're gonna go up into the weeds, but is this little shop light. So I mean, this is another tank that does get kind of some growth on it, but it's really more mulm growth per se, because I don't have any plants in here with the Shelleys. I'll show you a couple other examples of that too. Let me go hunting around for a minute. Yeah, so this is another example right here. This is like where I put the little hood on it. So this is the so right here, I just use zip ties. If you look up here, it's zip tied, and then if you look inside, you can see that I just zip tied it in here, and just made a little hood for it. And so you can use that, and it really does fine. And this is another example too. I mean, with the Tropheus, you can see all the crypts in here. Does a pretty decent job. And then, I mean, the gravel, I mean, it's kind of obvious, but I mean, pretty much all the gravel you see in here is all Home Depot gravel. Like, say the gravel in this tank right here, that's all from Home Depot. Like, there's only one tank that has gravel from the store, so from Petco. So, I mean, this sand here, more than likely, is probably pool filter sand. I know the Shelly tank we just looked at is pool filter sand as well. And then, this tank, I mean, we'll show you the African cichlid tank where I was talking about the filtration. And you can see here, this tank's full of Vallisneria. And, kind of like I said in the video earlier, there's a bunch of mulm there's a little bit of mulm on the bottom, like here. But the only thing that's running right now here is you see the two aquarium co-op sponge filters. I do have a title on here if I need to run it, but I've not been running that for quite a while now. But yeah, I mean, the valve does a pretty good job with the filtration. The cichlids look fine. Also, the valve's really good at providing line of sight blocks for the cichlids as well, to curb any aggression. But yeah, it does. I mean, you can run a big tank like this and run very minimal filtration if you want. I mean, there are other big tanks in here that I do run hang on backs on, but it kind of depends on the tank. I know this tank's a mess right here, but I do run run a hang on the back on this one, and it's still I still got to get the glass cleaned up on this again. This tank, for whatever reason, with the Calicromus macrops in it, is just mulmy, and I got to figure out what to do about it. So since we're down here now, since I'm kind of to that tank, I do want to talk about Friday and kind of like what I learned and kind of what I picked up. So I did, if I've seen this tank in the past streams. If you notice, there's quite a few more of the trout goodeids in here. So there was a gentleman. Unfortunately, he was an older gentleman. He was having some health issues, and he decided to get out of the hobby. And so so we went as kind of the club, and kind of me and the president of the club went and helped tear down his fish room. And a very interesting thing. Obviously I got all these trout goodeids, but the way that he had them in the tank is he had all of this Java fern on the top of the tank. Like, he didn't have it planted, but he had it just all on the top. I think it was like a 29-gallon tank, or it was a 29-gallon tank, and he had it all on the top, and it was just excellent for fry cover. I mean, and it was covering the entire top of the tank, which I thought was pretty neat. So you can see all these little fry in here, and they were all just living amongst the all the Java fern. So I've kind of decided to replicate that. He did have a tank with some crypts in it as well, which are right over here. I do need to get those planted. I did plant some of them over the last weekend, but I need to find homes for the rest of it. You can see like one of them's here, but I do need to find some other spots for the crypts. But I thought that was a pretty interesting way to to provide fry protection. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it and see if I can get it to grow. And then we're gonna flip over here, and all of these guys are kind of pointed to the back right now. But he also had some rainbow cichlids, which I ended up putting in here with the rainbow fish. Unfortunately, they're all kind of pointed to the back right now, but yeah, they're kind of interesting. I'll keep them and see what I think of them over time, and maybe they'll be a long-term resident, maybe not, but we'll see. So I thought that was, like I said, that was a pretty interesting trip. I'm glad, we were happy to help them out. Generally, what we do in that kind of situation is the club will take those. I ended up with some tanks as well, but the club a lot of times will take the tanks and the fish and sell them. I gave the club like a donation for the 3 tanks I ended up with, plus all the fish. So it was kind of a good way that, unfortunately, like I said, he was having some health issues and couldn't really remain in the hobby. So, I was glad to be able to help him, give his fish a good home. And then, we're going to have to go back because we didn't get everything. But we'll go ahead and, keep working on that little project as well. I kind of wish I would have filmed his actual tank with these goodeids in it, because I really thought that was an interesting method of how he had that set up. So I'll head upstairs real quick, and we'll kind of answer your questions and see if you guys want to see anything else as well. And then kind of on our way up, I'll show you the bad tank with algae. But this is another rack too, since we're here, where I've run this same lighting setup, and they just hook together. So let me. Oh, I didn't show you the. So this is the bad tank. You can see all the. all the hair algae on the bottom. It's still the same light setup. So I'm not sure why this tank gets all the hair algae on the bottom, but since we're here, I mean, and I didn't mention kind of his lighting as well, some of the budget lights. I mean, I think this is one of the OG lights from the barn. I think this is probably like it was an Aquanit. You can see it over here. This has probably been running in here for like 5 years and still going strong. So, I mean, there's really a mix here. I mean, there's a co-op light right here. So really kind of a mix, but yeah, I mean, they all grow plants. I mean, you can grow plants with the shop light, at least the easy plants. I mean, nothing, obviously nothing that's, got higher care requirements. But let me go ahead here and I'll go kind of through your comments real quick, and then we can go from there. All right, so let me pop through the comments here real quick. All right, so hello, Audra. How are you? Let me go through here as well. So Audra just said, yeah, so we did the same thing like that we did with this gentleman's fish room when a club member passed. Yeah, so that's definitely really good. That good service that the clubs provide is if someone passes away, they can come and kind of take care of the fish. I know that like my family really isn't into the fish, other than me. My oldest daughter kind of knows about how much to feed them, so. But I think they would definitely need some assistance from the fish club. So, all right. So Otter says I now have some fish whose location is Richard's Fish Room, as I really don't know. So that's yeah. There's some interesting things can come about of that from that for sure. So let's kind of scroll through the comments. Okay. So here, let me check out the poll and see. Yeah, so 97% wanted me to stream. So let me check with the club and see what they want. If I'm allowed to, I don't think it would be a problem if I streamed the auction, but I'll reach out to our auction chair, and he's the guy who went with me to this gentleman's fish room anyway. So I'll talk to him and make sure it's fine. But yeah, we'll do we'll go ahead and we'll do a stream of the auction. Just kind of set the camera up and let it go, kind of for as long as it needs to. So it'll be kind of like an all-day event. So I'll go ahead and I'll end the poll though. So we're getting to be about 40 minutes in. So, yeah, so I think since you guys didn't have any questions, I think one thing I do want to do, if we have time at the end of streams, is I'll go ahead and I'll feed the fish room while we're kind of talking. So I think what we're going to do right now, I'll go ahead and grab the fish food. I'll kind of show you what I'm feeding. So Audra asked, does my wife enjoy the fish? I don't know if I would use the word enjoy. Like, I think she doesn't mind them, but it's really not her thing. I mean, the fish are out here, and she comes out here maybe once a year or so. But more like if I don't answer my phone and she has a question or something like that, it's not. I'm kind of the one that spends my time out here. And the kids and my wife really don't kind of come out here. So it's kind of like my hobby. That's just kind of how it is. But so yeah, let me grab the fish food. I'll show you what I'm feeding right now, and then I'll go ahead and I'll feed all the tanks. Kind of do like a little fish room tour. So. So even though this says Cunningham Tropicals on it, this is actually pretty much a mix of extreme foods. This is a mix of the extreme krill flake, the extreme soulfly flake, excuse me, and then the spirulina flake. And then I also do add this from Cunningham Tropicals, this blackworm flake to it as well. Um, so yeah, I just mix this all together. I usually buy this like once a month. Mix it up in this big container, and then the larger fish will get the extreme big fella pellets, and then I will mix in the magic nano feed and the community pellet as well. So Audra's kind of the same. My hubby's golf goes fishing. Yeah. Um, yeah. So I mean, like I said, I'll like summertime. I'll do a little bit more golf, but yeah, right now it's kind of I'll fish all the time in the winter. Um, there are there are golf courses that actually remain open all year up here in Michigan, but obviously I don't think anyone's playing right now. Obviously with the snow and everything, but they'll there are some that stay open all year round, but most of them will close up usually by like the second week in November, and by Thanksgiving, I think everyone's pretty much closed down for the season. Um, so let's go ahead and we'll feed this real quick. Um, I'll do my best to do this one-handed with the camera. So, um, so let's go ahead and if you have any questions, like I'll kind of so am I in Lower Michigan? I am in the Metro Detroit area. So I'm kind of northern suburbs of Metro Detroit is where I'm located. So so yeah, so let's go ahead we'll go feed the fish. We'll kind of talk about tell you which ones they are again. So we'll start over here. This tank has the Xiphophorus variatus from Ryoko Kilko. There's not very many of these in here anymore. I had a pretty decent group going at one point, but there's like a couple. There's like these two, maybe a couple more, and there's a bunch of cherry shrimp in here as well. So, but we'll feed this tank real quick. And I generally do feed kind of heavy. So, next tank's home to. Actually, let me grab the light because you're gonna get a lot of glare if you don't. All right, so the next tank here is the Melanotania praecox dwarf neon rainbow fish, and then the Limia perusae, which is kind of the main fish in here. I don't know how colored up the male is right now, but that's one of the dominant males. When he's like really fired up, he gets kind of a dark color to him. He actually looks quite nice. And this is from the La Anzufrada location. I know there's some on Dan's Fish that are from a different location, but these I actually got locally. Down here is kind of a rare fish, actually. This is the Chapelixis pardalis. These are from the Ojo de Agua de Tacumbo, the Balneario, which is basically, they actually took this fish's habitat in the 1970s and turned it into a bath. So like a swimming area. So this is a pretty common species, like the pardalis for Goodeids is pretty easy to find. But finding one from the Balneario for his club. Next up here is the blue Hawaiian Moscow guppies. This is one where I may finally take these to the auction this year. They kind of just are up and down for me. Maybe I'll take this tank and put something else in it. Oh. So, all right. So did you guys lose me, or are we still good?
All right, I'm back in here. So let me go ahead and I'll switch it back to the barn cam now, which should be working. And then I'll be right back outside.
All right. So we should be back now. So I do apologize for the technical difficulties. So nice little kind of run out in the cold. So back to where we were. So we had the blue Hawaiian Moscow guppies. This was the fish that was kind of featured in last week's video. This is the dream fish. This is the Cracodon audax from Los Pinos. If you look these up online, the males, a lot of these males like this one will have all red instead of the all black. So I'm kind of hoping as this fish ages, it kind of gets the all red on it. Right here, we probably won't see very many of them, but this is the Xenophallus umbratilis, a little micro live bear. You can see some right in the kind of in the plants over here. Next up here is Xenotoka lion's eye. You can see the male right there. And then down here we have its cousin, and the 40 breeder down here, the Xenotoka dodroi. And you can see these. There's literally like a billion of these. This one I've got to do a little bit of investigation on to see, where the fish are. They've kind of been hiding around in all the Java moss. But there's the Xiphophorus ophidium. Up next here is the Pasilia chica. You can see there's a ton of guppy grass in here. So it kind of drowns out the fish a little bit. And then this next tank here is the double sword guppies. I picked these up at our local auction in Southwest Michigan back in October. And you can tell that this male is absolutely beautiful. And then down here's another tank I'm going to have to go through and kind of see what's going on with. This is the Rheolotopus swordtails. You see the male here? There's the male, and then there's like a bunch of fry, basically. So I'll have to kind of dig through that tank as well. And then the next one here is the fish I got recently from the wet spot. These are the southern mollies. There's though these are the Pasilia vivipara. You see one back there. They're kind of, yeah, they all kind of darted to the back. So this next one here is the red volcano endlers. Really kind of pretty little endler. If I get some of the good male here. Pretty little fish. Let me head back and grab the rest of the food. And then we do have some of these blue panda guppies. I originally got these as dithers when I had the Nessie swords, but these have kind of taken off. So you get the nice big, original female there. There was two bigger males that are the original fish, and then the rest of these are fry. So, and then down here, these are the marbled swords. I'm probably at the auction this year too. I'll probably take the orange ones. There's some of these that are just completely plain orange, and then I'll take those to the auction. All right, maybe what we'll do is we'll do the upstairs part of the barn. We'll go ahead and feed that, and then I'll go ahead and we'll head back into the house, kind of finish up with some last minute questions and comments, and go from there. So, all right. This is the second tank of Los Pinos that we saw earlier. These are the Manjano cichlids. These were actually in last Sunday's video as well. These guys are the flagfin shiners down here. These I actually got at Fishy Bingo. I've got about a dozen of them in here or so. And then a lot of the crypts in here that I planted, those were from the gentleman whose fish room we visited on Friday. So I did plant some of those in here. They were nice, big, beautiful crypts. So. Next one here, Xenotania resolane, leopard goodad. I got these at the Grand Valley auction back in October as well. These might be past breeding age, we'll see, but they're pretty big adults. And then down here is the second group of the Chapelixes pardalis. These are the more common location. It's ESU2, which is the evolutionary significant unit, but I can't remember the name at the moment. I don't think it's Lago di Orandino. It's drawing a blank on the location. I apologize. Usually I have them written on the tanks, but I missed one, so I'll have to rectify that. So I know we're kind of running out of time, so I'm going to go kind of quickly here. These ones here are the painted swords. This one's mostly males. And then down here are the Liberty Mollies that I got from Dan's Fish. And then the plants in here is Pogostem and Gai. Next up is the Zoogeneticus tequila. And then this is the tank that I kind of made out of the Aquarium Co-op mystery box. You can see the Tiger Lotus here is doing quite well. And then you can also see the Dwarf Aquarium Lily here has really exploded as well. And then the Dwarf Sag on the bottom has really taken off here as well. So, done quite well. And then I think the last tank we're going to do for tonight before I answer the questions is this bottom one. This one's home to the brass swordtails, which looks like they're probably hiding right now. Yeah, oh, there's one right there. So, Xiphophorus Calmany, we'll have to get that one. get that one going. So let me do this. We'll stop it there for tonight, and then if we do feeding next week, I'll just start with a different tank. Maybe we'll start with the downstairs part. But yeah, so let me go ahead. I'll head inside. I'll head inside, and then we'll go ahead and kind of answer your last minute questions and everything. So. All right. So we're back. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the chat here real quick and see if we got any questions here. Audra, did you see a tank? The entire bottom is crypts. Yes. That was kind of going to be the next tank on the list. Is the there's a couple tanks actually. The tank with the Embecca Splendens is all crypts on the bottom, pretty much. And then that tank is home to the Skiffia multipunctata, and that tank is all crypts on the bottom as well. That's kind of one of the goals here for the barn, is to kind of get a lot of those tanks with just crypts. Let me kind of flip up. Flip up real quick. Yeah, so I think I've hit all the comments. So I think I've hit all the comments. So I'm not sure yet which topic I'm going to pick for next week. We may talk about auctions. We may talk about natural aquariums. I'm not really sure yet. If we're going to do the natural aquarium topic, I need to watch some other creators' videos. Because I've not watched like one of the other experts on the hobby. I've watched a lot of Lucas's stuff. I've been to his fish room, but I do need to watch a couple of the other more natural aquarium channels and see kind of what I think. So yeah. So anyways, I think we're going to wrap it up here. It's 9:02. I know Bentley normally goes on at 9, so I don't want to encroach on anyone's time. But thank you guys for watching. Definitely appreciate it. Empire of Dirt. Jeff Kane asked,
Is Tuesday night going to be your regular night? Yes. So Tuesday night will be the regular night unless something happens. And I'm not sure what. I think the only thing that would change that is if one of my, maybe my younger daughter or, maybe the older daughter decides to play something in her last kind of semester in school. It would probably get taken up by like a sports thing when that would happen. So if the kids were in a sports season, I would probably have to move it to a weekend or something. So Zen said Bentley isn't even scheduled as an okay. So we can go. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll end it here though. I think that tank was a good spot to end it on, and then next week we'll go ahead and go ahead and take a look. We'll feed some more tanks too at the end, and then we'll go ahead and go from there. Yeah, I think I'm going to end it here. Sorry for the in and out today a little bit. Sorry for the technical difficulties as well. It definitely does take your breath away, kind of moving quickly out in the cold. So, anyways, definitely everyone stay warm. It's definitely unpleasant out right now. Even if you're in a southern climate, I've seen people from Louisiana, have snow and things like that. So with that, stay fishy, stay warm, and I'll see you next Tuesday night.